All right, guys, super quick video for Miss Angelo and Miss Carlson's homerooms on how to access your work, where everything is, so that you understand what's going on. The last 2 weeks have really been like learning about you as information as you was as a third grader. So the stuff for reading and writing was really third grade type material. Math and science, it was getting to know you, getting to know your book, getting to know the science classroom. So these items were things that you can use to practice on how to submit things, because remember, as an e-learner, we don't have access to you. We can't see you in class. So we can only see your work through your submissions. So this is what this video is for. Here I am going into my Canvas. So here I am bringing you into Brianna's actual page so that you can see. You have your homeroom page, and in your homeroom page is where you would access your attendance. Guys, if you do not see attendance up for either Miss Carlson or I, don't worry about it, because we take attendance in our morning classes, and on Monday we take attendance all together. But in our morning classes, we take attendance, and Miss Carlson and I share that information. So this is the thing. If you're not in attendance in your morning Zoom, there's a good chance you could be marked absent. So we definitely need to make sure that you're touching base and reaching out to us. If you're having issues with a Zoom, please, 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 by all means, you need to make sure that you are reaching out to Miss Angelo or Miss Carlson. You're definitely your homeroom teacher if you can't be in that morning Zoom, because that's how we give you credit for being in attendance. Now, we can't do that all the time. You do need to make sure that you're attending your Zooms as much as possible. And I will put up those morning Zoom information in here, but let's go ahead and let's start off with reading. So for Miss Carlson's homeroom, it says the word reading. Oh, let me actually show you how to get into card view. You see how that we can view all of these as a card. A lot of you have this. It is a lot harder to see things like this. So what I do is right across from this word dashboard, there are 3 dots, and on those 3 dots, you can turn it into card view, and that gives you this view where you can see all of your subject area cards. Now we click on reading. And in reading, writing and reading are together. So writing, it'll always say WK of, so it'll be the week of, and it will say writing. Okay, that is, and they're kind of grayed out, as you can see a little bit. That's like your subject header. Underneath that is all of your information. So for this week, the very first thing that you'll see in reading and writing is the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint will walk us through our week. So if I click on this PowerPoint, this tells us everything that we have to do for the days through the PowerPoint, because it's all one big PowerPoint. And this blue link right here is your login, not your login, but is your link to download your PowerPoint. So if you click on that, you can see it downloads here at the bottom. And I'm going to click that, and I'm going to click open. Once I do that, it will open the PowerPoint in PowerPoint. All right, so now I am sharing this screen here. This is the PowerPoint. It comes up with enable editing, and I do need to click on that. Oh, it stopped sharing, so let me go back in there. It does that sometimes. And I need to click this button that says enable content. When I do that, everything that I put inside the PowerPoint will work. So I record videos of myself doing writing. I put videos on different things that I found on YouTube that are appropriate, or I put read alouds. All of those things are within this PowerPoint. Now, once I'm in here, this button down at the bottom, it looks like a little projector slide that you pull down. If you click on that, it opens it up to the projector view where you can see the entire document. So here is the first thing that you had to do for this week. It was to read Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. So it's a read aloud, which if you're not incorporating text with writing, you're incorporating a read aloud. So something that kind of gives you an idea of things that happen. So you can listen to Alexander's horrible day, and that was part of your responsibility on Tuesday. And then here is a video on how to start or to plan for your personal narrative. So it's a short little video about planning for personal narrative. And this is one way to plan. And then within here, I give you the prompt. So what happened during your worst day of your life, that's your writing prompt. So this is a writing prompt based on your personal experience. Now, a personal narrative is supposed to be a true story. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't know if everything in there is true. So you have a little leeway with this, that you don't have to be exactly 100% truthful as long as it makes sense. No flying monkeys in your story. And then here is actually my video of how I planned for this. So then you would watch this video, and then it does give you directions. Okay, here's the sample of my plan. And then it tells you to submit your work to Canvas, and it shows you exactly where you need to go to submit the work for this day. This would be Tuesday's work, and it has the date. It's your personal narrative plan, what happened during the worst day of your life. It's worth 10 points. These are extra credit points, actually, for these items. And then the next day, and the directions where the PowerPoint is, you would watch this video. This is about Sam's bad day. It gives you the prompt again. There is a beginning, introduction, or opening little video. And then here is my beginning where I created it. And then there's the example of the beginning, and you can see how I edited it. You can see it with the two different colors. And then here is where it shows you how you need to submit it. Submit your work to Canvas, and it actually gives you the destination for Wednesdays. Here's the book Chrysanthemum. It's another read aloud with regard to a bad day. Here is a little video on how to write a draft. It talks about the middle portion. Here is your prompt. And then there is a video of my model of writing my very bad worst day of my life. And then here's the example of my middle. And then it shows you, reminds you, oh, submit to Canvas. And it shows you exactly where you should be submitting for that date. So this is the ending, and we actually did this with the class today. This is what Friday's work would be. There is the draft. Here is my video of my ending, and here's what my ending looks like. Here's where I submit that ending for those extra credit points. And then there is one more slide, because this is the actual graded piece. The other four were just 40 extra credit points that every fourth grader could use, even every adult could use. And then the graded piece, which is your full personal narrative, and here's an example of what I mean, my full personal narrative, that gets submitted here. That is the one that I grade for content. So this is the PowerPoint for writing for this week. Again, it was a personal narrative just based on a prompt, so you're writing something about yourself. So let me go back into Canvas. So when you're in Canvas, remember, we always go to modules. Everything is in modules, no matter what subject area you're in, math, science, reading, writing, social studies, always go to modules. That's where your work is. Here are your submissions, and you'll be able to tell mine because I put my PowerPoint and then my things that need to be submitted, they are staggered here. And every one of these assignments will have a submission button. Now, Brianna has turned in hers, so it says resubmit. If it says resubmit, you've submitted it. If it just says submit assignment, you have not submitted the assignment. And again, under the assignment, I do go over the directions again, just in case we forget. I do have my model there again. And what you do is you just take a picture of your work. So I do have a couple of videos up about how to take pictures. So I usually take a picture with my cell phone because I can usually get it a perfect picture. You see how I got it super close here. It's very readable. There's no shadows. I'm not looking at my own face in there because a lot of times I get pictures with people's faces in it, and I love your beautiful faces, but I don't need to see it for your work. I actually need to see your work. And then what I do is I send that to Messenger. So from my phone, I use Messenger. Now I know the school laptops do not have access to Messenger, so that it's a little bit difficult, but I have actually shown the students how they would go about taking a picture from the school laptop using the school laptop in order to take a picture. It's pretty easy. You just have to, stand the laptop up and line up the paper as close as you can, and just make sure once you have that document, and I'll go ahead and open up a couple that actually Brianna has taken. Once you have that document, just make sure that it is something that you can see. So here is a picture of Brianna's work that she took with her laptop. So you see how she took the picture and she made sure that we could read it. And once she takes the picture, she opens it up like here. She right clicks on it and she would click save as. There would be a save as. This one doesn't have it because we don't have access to that right now because it's already been saved, but that's how we would go about doing that. And so you would resubmit it. And then each day you can actually hit next, or you could click back into modules, but here is the second day. This was Wednesday's work. So again, it goes over the directions, what you should have done, work through week 3 writing, PowerPoint slides 7 through 11, watch the video, Sam's bad day on slide 7, the prompt is on slide 8, watch the video on slide 9 about what should be in a beginning. Watch my model, my beginning of the prompt on slide 10. Slide 11 is your reminder that you must turn in a photo of your handwritten beginning. And then there's my handwritten beginning. And as you can see, it's not that long. And here, again, it says resubmit assignment. It would say submit assignment if you hadn't done it. And over to the side, as you can see, there is information as to what Brianna submitted. Now you see how it has last name, comma, first name. It has what the assignment is and the date. And I need to have all of those because what happens is I then go in after I grade them, I download everything into your electronic portfolio because that's how we keep information about you in e-learning. We keep it in your electronic portfolio. That gives me proof that you have met a certain standard or you've completed a certain assignment. That's what I do with all of that. So last name, comma, first name, the date, and whatever the assignment is. So if it's the beginning, it needs to say the beginning. If it's the middle, it needs to say the middle. If it's the end, it needs to say the end. If it's your full piece, like how I took a picture of my full piece, you need to write your full personal narrative. If you hit next, it goes into the next assignment that needs to be submitted. Work through week 3, writing PowerPoint slides 12 through 16. Watch the book Chrysanthemum on 12. The prompt is on 13. Watch the video on 14. Watch my model on 15. And 16 is your reminder to submit your entire piece. And this is my example of my entire piece, or my entire middle piece. And then you would submit it. And you can see here, Brianna actually submitted a couple times. I don't know why, but she did. So now we go into, if you hit next again, and again, all of this can be accessed, let me show you again, through modules, which is how I get to everything. And then I find the date, because usually if you're working on it day by day, you need to go in and find the date. So here's September the 10th, that was yesterday. That was her middle. Now here's today. So we go into September 11th. And the assignment tells us right here, okay, I need to go do slide 17 through 20. 17 has the video, 18 has the prompt, 19 has Miss Angelo's model, 20 reminds me I have to submit my work. Okay, so even in the PowerPoint, I remind you, submit your work. And it shows screenshots of where you should be submitting your work. So there shouldn't be mistakes, because I had a lot of mistakes last week. I was getting weird things turned in weird places. All right, and I do accept pictures of your work. So let's say I have a, where you had to answer, do a little writing prompt about reading. So something about reading, and you had to write it, but you also had to write it in your notebook. You can take a picture of that and submit it. You don't have to type it out. If you want to, you by all means you can, but you don't have to. So most of our work we do in class during reading. I give you time to do your discussions. You know, I'll say, here's 4 minutes, do your discussion board, you know, or here's your exit ticket, write it in your notebook. You can take a picture of your exit ticket. All right, discussion boards do need to be tight, but your exit tickets, if it's a certain exit ticket you need to turn in, you can just take a picture of what you wrote in your notebook, or a graphic organizer. If you wrote it in your notebook, by all means, you can take a picture of it. So you don't have to type everything out. You don't have to redo anything. If you've already done it in your notebook, if it's legible, which means Miss Angelo can read it, you can turn it in. All right, so I'm back in modules. And the last thing is that full narrative that we needed for grading. So that's the full piece for today. And this, it says work through week 3, PowerPoint slide 21. So basically that's the reminder, hey, turn your work in. And here is my picture of my work. If you can't take a picture well with the laptop where it's 2 by 2, like how I have it, just submit the pieces, your beginning, middle, and end. I'm fine with that as well, can be submitted here. This grade, what happens is all assignments are attached to the grade book. So the pieces where you submit them singly are attached to extra credit. This is attached to content grade. So that's why you have to do it twice, but it gives you practice, because guys, I am in I'm doing my doctorate right now, and they make me use Canvas, and I have to do the same thing. So everything has to be submitted in the right spots. So it's really good practice anyway for when we go to college. It gives you good practice. All right, so I'm going to go back into my modules, because that's for this week for the writing. I'm going back into my modules for reading. Now, reading, I do separate it day by day, because reading, there's usually more than one thing that has to be submitted, because remember, you're giving me proof of classwork, you're giving me proof of your learning. So there's usually more than one thing that has to be submitted. So in order to do that, I separate it by days, where writing, you're always submitting your beginning, your middle, your plan, your beginning, your middle, your end, and then your full piece. So there's only one thing really to be submitted per day most of the time. But with reading, there's multiple things that could be submitted. So I separate reading by day. You literally look for the title of the date. So Tuesday's date was 9/8, and it says reading. Underneath it is the PowerPoint. I'm going to open up my PowerPoint for the day. Again, it says use the PowerPoint to complete the 2 tasks for the day. You do need to open up the PowerPoint, not just look at the task, because within the PowerPoint, there may be 4 things that you have to do in there, but only 2 you have to turn in. The thing is when I start doing notebook checks, and you have to send me a picture of a notebook check, because I'll send you a message that says, hey, I opened up notebook check submission for you. I need you to submit September the 8th work. I'm going to look for those 4 things that I put in that PowerPoint, not just the 2 that needed to be submitted, because I already saw those. I'm looking to make sure that we can go through, we can follow directions, and I can see different types of work. And so you do have to make sure you go through the PowerPoints, not just, okay, I submitted that assignment. I submitted that assignment. That might be okay now, but in the future, if I ask for 2 days of your notebook and you only did the things that get submitted, your notebook score is going to be very low. So I'm going to open up my PowerPoint. Remember, I click on the blue link down at the bottom, and it will download, and I will then click open. Let me share to that PowerPoint now. So this is, and it's probably going to kick me out because I'm enabling. Yep, kick me out. Hold on, let me get back in there. So this is the PowerPoint just for that day. It's just for the one day. If it comes up with the enable content, you need to push that. I didn't put any videos in here, so it won't do that. Remember to turn it into slide view. Now you can look at it. So this is day 1, and it'll say what day of the week it is. So this is week 3, day 1. Next week, it'll be week 4, and so on. So here's our learning target. You do always write your learning targets when you are doing your notebooks. That is definitely important. We need to know what our purpose for learning is. There are directions in here. It tells you what to do. The articles are in here, and they will start to be also in your ready notebook or your ready book that you picked up from the school. These were just content that were appropriate for children who are at the end of third grade, because remember, I want to see how you were as a third grader so I can help you grow as a fourth grader. Here's your discussion board. It gives you your discussion question. It shows you exactly where that discussion question, what it looks like and how to locate it within Canvas. And then the next slides are actually the quiz questions that you would have to answer in Canvas. So this particular day, for these assignments, the only thing in there were the 2 assignments you had to turn in. So now let me go back into Canvas. Oh, wrong one. Here we go. So I'm in Canvas. I'm going to go into modules. And I open this up. When I open up that, it's the exact same discussion question. You'll see the discussion question. Here it is. And the kids asked me to put the text within the discussion question so they didn't have to flip-flop back and forth, and that's fine. So here's the text. And then they are able to answer the discussion question. And when you do discussion questions, you hit reply, you type in your discussion, and then you hit post reply. So let me show you. It comes up with a box. This story was great. That's obviously not the discussion question. You would post that, and then you put post reply. If you don't hit post reply, it will not register your reply. So then you need to make sure you get that done. And then the next piece in here, and you can scroll all the way to the bottom. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, it'll say take quiz. Now, Brianna already took the quiz. She could take it again if she wanted to. The information is in here. And within each quiz question, I did put the text so that the kids don't have to go back and look in the text or go back to the PowerPoint. The text is literally right in front of them for them to do. So it should be easy enough for them to answer and respond to. So that is how the PowerPoints and the modules work for reading. I do want to show you one more, so let me go back into my modules. Some days I will have Iready information that's due. If I assign an Iready lesson, I need to know how the kids did on that. So there is a PowerPoint. The only thing the PowerPoint says is, hey, go do your Iready lesson. So I will show you what it looks like though. So it says PowerPoint provides directions for the reading assignment for 9-10. There wasn't much to say because it is just about, hey, go to Iready, but we'll open it so you guys can see that. And here's the slide. It tells you what the lesson is. So it's identifying theme of a story. It is comprehension. So they have that. Now, once the student, let me go back into here. Once the student completes the Iready lesson, I will show you exactly what you need to do. So I'm going to click on Iready here on the side because I can do that. In order to access Iready, it will ask me if I want to open a new tab, and the answer is yes. All right. So, and it should log you right in. So here's reading. And okay, so she doesn't have any assigned work, but let's say we need to show me her information. So I want to look at her completed work. And here are her 2 completed lessons that she needed to do this week. September the 9th and September the 10th. She finished it today, and that's okay. So this is what you do in order to get that. I'm going to hit Control P on my screen. And what that does is that, let me see if you can see that. Yes, you can. Okay. That brings up this print screen. I want to turn it to landscape because I need to see the scores. I'm looking for the scores. So I need to see that. And you'll see how, hold on, let me. All right, Control P. And I'm going to hit landscape. It's there. All right. Okay, so this is, hold on, let me scroll up like this. See if I can get the score in there. Okay, hold on. Back to lesson status. All right, if that doesn't work, if you can't see your, oh, hold on. You can always take a picture of this screen and submit it to me. My screen, because I'm sharing on Zoom, it's not aligning, but the control pre does normally work. If I'm not on Zoom, it's because it's focusing on two things, so it won't allow the screen to move down. But I usually get where the score will be on here. And then you should hit save as PDF, and every computer can do that. Once you do that, you click on save. And then I always put stuff in Brianna's folder. So, and Brianna has to put it in her folder, desktop, and she goes to Brianna's work. If it's reading, she goes into reading. And as you can see, she does have some already in here. So she would then take this and she would type Angelo, Brianna. She would type the date, 9/11/20, and she would do Iready Lesson. That way I know, okay, it was the Iready Lesson for that day, for 9/11, okay? And then she would hit save. I'm not going to do that because it's not aligning right with me being on Zoom, but let me get here. So that's how you can do that. You can also snap a picture, but I do need the actual scores in order to give you credit for that, because it does count for credit, because these lessons were specifically picked by me to go along with the content topic we were learning about. So this is stuff that was the expectation that this child could do this at this time. Now, when you're doing your Iready, you're just doing your Iready like you normally have to. Those you won't submit for grades. This is submitted for a grade because it's checking the content I've taught you. So that's why that works that way. All right, so now let's get back in here and we will go into, oh, share. Let me get out of Iready. All right, we'll go back into our dashboard. So we're in our dashboard now. Let's go to social studies. And social studies, for either class, we'll say social studies. It will just have a different picture, but it's no big deal. So social studies shows up with past assignments. You still need to hit modules. Some of them will start at modules, some will start off with past. It doesn't matter. Modules is always where we go. Social studies is a running document, so that you look for the date. So here it is. It's for this week, Unit 1, Lesson 2, Florida Constitution. You're just going to look for the date. So here, September the 8th, 2020. This is Unit 1, Lesson 2, Day 1, History Lab launch. So your job is to go in there. There's an essential question. You must write the essential question because it's our reason for learning. And then it gives you a task that you need to do. All right. So here's the task. It says, look at this image of the document for at least 1 minute. What details do you notice? What can you infer about this document? So you're going to write those down in your social studies notebook. Now, after you've done that task itself, you can hit next. And the next item says submit a photo of what you wrote in your notebook. So all you do is you write your observations, you write your inferences, and you submit a photo. That shows me, yes, they did the assignment, and I can get an idea of if a student understands what this document is, and they may or may not, and that's okay. It lets me know that information. So that's how you would do social studies for day 1, back into modules. Day 2, again, just look for the date, and I did separate it. I put these in here. So I put day 1, I put day 2, I put day 3, and that it will always be up for the week, because even if, let's say we don't get to day 4's work, and I say, don't worry about day 4's work, I'll actually, I'll shut that module, that part of the module down, and I will re-upload it for the next week, and it will be the new day 1. So I'm not, if I tell you not to do it, I will shut that part of it down. I won't leave it up. So here's day 2. There's the directions. You see how it says day 1 directions. There's your essential question that you must write. You need to read all this, go through this, and then it says click click next for source 1. So here is your writing or your reading that you would read for this in order to then hit next after you read it, in order to complete this. And this one's a discussion board post. So here's the text. I told you that I always put the text in the discussion board. That way, if you need to go back to it, it's right there, super easy for you, and it's there. And you can see once that button says subscribed, that means that the student has actually answered or responded to the discussion board. If it has nothing, if you just see the button that says reply, that means it has not been done, okay? So if it just had this, it would show that you still need to do that. So back into modules. And I know this video is long, but I really want to walk everybody through these things so that you understand. Day 3, same thing. Go to the directions, write your essential question, read the directions, figure out what you need to do. There's a text that you need to read, the role of the Florida Constitution, and a discussion board. Now, some people had questions about Patriot Day. So this is actually the quiz that you took in reading. So it says submit the documentation at the end of your reading assignment. So at the end of the reading assignment, and I will go in and I will show you Brianna's. So let's go back into dashboard, and it's showing where you have to put that. So I'm going into reading. I'm going into ELA Carlson because she's in Miss Carlson's homeroom. And I'm going into today's, whoops, September 11th. Here's the quiz. We're going to click on that quiz, okay? And you see right here is where the score is for that quiz, okay? I'm going to do Control P, and that is going to bring up the print screen of the score. So you are, and there it is right there. And so it is saved to PDF. So I will hit save. And this should be in Brianna's actually social studies. Because remember, this is a social studies assignment. So she doesn't have a social studies folder yet. So I'm going to actually add one. Most of our social studies has just been discussion boards. So that's why I shouldn't have one yet. So there's my social studies. I'm going to go here, Angelo, Brianna, 9/11/20, Patriot Day quiz results. And then I hit save. Now this document is saved in, the print screen is saved in the folder. So back into dashboard and back into social studies. And remember, we have to always go into modules, which is right here. Sometimes I get lost. And then I'm going to Patriot Day, which is right here. And it tells you what you need to do. So it says submit the documentation grade that you earned on reading assignment for Patriot Day quiz. So this is the quiz. And now I'm going to click, I don't know what she submitted, so I'm gonna try again because it wasn't on here. She probably did it on a different computer. So I click submit assignment, choose file. And remember, I'm going into my desktop, Brianna's work, social studies, and I'm clicking on this document where it had her score. And then I'm going to click submit. As you can see, it's right there. Click submit. And if it's on time, you'll see confetti and something. This one has confetti and flowers. And it will put that it was submitted there. So now that assignment was submitted. So that's how you do that. There will be things that you do in reading where you take the results from reading and you need to just document it in social studies. What that does, like I said, it opens up the grade book so I can put the grade, because that particular assignment was twofold. It was part of our reading comprehension for today so that we understand, but it also was part of our social studies curriculum where we had to learn about Patriot Day. This proves that you learned about it. It proves that you took a quiz about it. So that is how that works. Now, let's look at our dashboards for math and science so that we can get you through this. Again, math and science, the same thing. You go into modules. It'll open up. It may look different, but you always access modules. Ms. Carlson did move her module button up to the top, so it's super easy. Mine's a little harder, but we're always looking for the same thing. She separated hers. Here's her week. You see how it has her title. And then she put Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and she put the items underneath it. So these are like titles. This is like her day 1, day 2, day 3. So on Tuesday, she wanted you to go into Pearson Realize and do an assignment in there. So you click on that. And when you click on that assignment, it actually gives you the directions on what you need to do. If there's no submission button, take a picture with your phone and you can hold on to it so that if she asks for it, you have it, or you can submit it to her through Canvas inbox and just put Pearson Realize work from this day. Also, she knows when you go into the book, she has access to it, so you don't technically have to have proof. She can see it, but just in case, you have it there for her. So back in modules, we can look at Wednesday. Here's the assignment. It was Iready Lesson. So you go in to Iready, just like you did for mine. You take your Iready Lesson and you document the score with either taking a picture with your camera and submitting it, or with holding on to it if she doesn't have a submission button, because I know that she doesn't have as many submission buttons. She's getting used to that. But she also has access to check that you've done them. And then the old assignment, or this is not an old assignment, this is next week, but old assignments are here. Old assignments are here. You can still go in and get credit for all your old assignments. So here's the multiplication game. You click on it, you click on the multiplication game, you resubmit it, or you submit it when you're done. So I know a lot of you had questions, can I do my old assignments? Absolutely, same thing for mine. The new assignments will be at the top, the old assignments will be at the bottom. They're still going to be there, we're not getting rid of them. We just move the new stuff to the top so it's easy to access right away. So just go through your dashboards and you can see, I'll show you ELA again real quick for that so you just can see how that works. So here's this week's writing, this week's reading, and then underneath that, here's last week's. You see how it's still open. If it's blacked out, you can't do it. So for instance, the narrative plan on here, you can't submit that. This one is actually locked because this was extra credit. So submitting your plan the day you write your plan, submitting the beginning the day you write your beginning, the middle the day you write your middle, and the ending the day you write it, those are for extra credit. After the due date, those lock. Okay, so those lock, but everything else will remain open. You will get credit for it. Just remember, we need to submit things on time because I grade them on time. If you submit things late, you definitely need to send me a message through Canvas. I hope this video kind of helps to explain things. Again, if you don't see submission buttons on anything, that means that might be a task that you have to do, but you don't have to necessarily submit it because Ms. Carlson or I have an access. We have ways to check for that. So if it doesn't have a submission button, that still means you have to do it. You just need to hold on to it for later, putting it in your notebook, because we might ask for that notebook check later and it will need to be included in there. Again, I hope this video helps. Thanks for watching, everybody. I know it was long, but I hope that it gives you everything that you need.